it's a slapper. Go ask your pastor. If this beat is yet to meet the rapture.
Everyone, welcome back once again to Vicious Rates and of course I am your host, your YouTube Messiah, up in the never duplicated Messiah. Might I add, Mr. Main Event himself, Tim Vicious, and wow. You know, with all these titles I'm racking up, with all these monikers I'm racking up, I'm gonna need a show just for those alone. Wade, can you make a memo of that? Thank you. And, well, before we're going to go over this week's show was in Raw, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've said it before several times out there on my Twitter, and I will say it now. First and foremost, before I make the comment, I am welcome to any and all debates on what I'm about to say. Leave any and all interesting, creative questions, complaints, concerns, whatever you'd like down below, and I'll talk to you on it. But if you're going to be an asshole about it and be like, oh, fuck you, you're stupid, then no. The two best things to come out of Michigan, and a lot of things have come out of Michigan, the two greatest things to ever come out of Michigan, in my personal opinion, hands down, the Motor City Machine Guns. And number two, Kendra Lust. I stand by that argument. I will welcome all debates. So, Raw, Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's the Go Home Raw 2 Survivor Series War Games coming up this Saturday. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited for it. But before we go into this show, just like always, we're going to do that same old song and dance. We're going to switch gears, talk about last week via the SmackDown Rewind and the big highlights from last week's SmackDown. It started out with Damage Control out there. Needed my heart medication. Needed the heart medication for that one. Bayley out there addressing the crowds, insulting small children, doing as only she can. And then saying it was all part of the plan because much like she says, no one is ready for Asuka. Challenge accepted. And, well, then Bayley then finally goes and makes it official. Asuka, will you please join us in Damage Control? And then Asuka just takes the shirt. So yes, folks, it's official. It's official. Asuka's now part of Damage Control. All this, that, and the other. Hoorays, Kalu, Kalei, let's all twirl in our joy. And then afterwards, Asuka, Io, and Kairi, they start having their own little private conversation, chatting and giggling, and then Bayley's just like, what's going on? What's going on? Huh? Guys? Hello? What's going on? Dakota steps in and, listen, I think what they're trying to say is that we should challenge Bianca, Charlotte, and Shotzi to War Games. That's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. And then Bianca, Charlotte, and Shotzi come out. They say, you know what? Fine, we accept. And then Bayley starts laughing and mocking them. You idiots. Last we checked, there's 4 of us and only 3 of you. Oh, we'll find somebody. Don't you worry. Fast forward later on in the show, you see Nick Aldis addressing that matter, talking to Bianca, Charlotte, and Shotzi, saying, listen, I need to know who it is by the end of the night, or else. So then they're like, oh, okay, we got to figure this out. Bianca then, listen, I'm going to go and talk to some people, see if I can get something moving. Charlotte, I know you know someone. See if you can make a few calls. Charlotte's like, listen, I really don't want it if I don't have to. Given that kind of look, like, I don't want to unless I really have to, please. And we see Bianca trying to talk to Zelina Vega. She gets the crap kicked out of her by Damage Control. We see Bianca talk to Micha and Mia Yim. She gets the crap kicked out of her by Damage Control. So then Bianca then eventually winds up going to Charlotte. Listen, we're running out of options. You need to make that call, Charlotte. Alright, I'll make the call. Can't guarantee she'll answer, but I'll call. Fast forward to the end of the night, it winds up being revealed Becky is going to be the 4th member for Bianca's team, so it's going to be Damage Control versus Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. So, I'm all for it. Let's get it on. So, the other highlights from SmackDown was we had a tag team eliminator match, and they said it was to determine #1 contenders for the tag titles. We had the Street Profits going against the Brawling Brutes, who are then going against SmackDown's 2 most tastiest snacks, Pretty Deadly. And as much as I would have loved the Yes Boys to win, unfortunately the Street Profits won, which is not necessarily a bad thing because they're on a good roll. I'm digging this run that they got. And, you know, I want to see on how far they can go with this. I really do. That's me, though. Dragon Lee had a match against Axiom, and I know a good percentage of people don't watch NXT, and that's all well and good. I'm not going to argue. Me, no shame in my game. I'm a wrestling junkie. If you can put it in front of me, I don't care if it's WWE, NWA, WCW, whatever kind of wrestling. I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it. I'm just that kind of a wrestling fan. You give me whatever kind of wrestling, you put it in front of me, I will watch it. Axiom, the kid has got freaking moves. He's good. And for those who may not know, yes, Axiom is a kid. Shocker. But for those who did know, again, not much of a shocker. But Axiom, hell of a kid, hell of a performer. I dug the hell out of this match, and I know a lot of people were saying, oh, this is such a great match, they should bring back the Cruiserweight Classics, they should bring back the Cruiserweight Classics. No. No, no, no. No. As much as I'd love that, no. Because, simple enough, we had the Cruiserweight Classic. We had the Cruiserweights. And you know what we did? We squandered it. It was that gift we asked Mom and Dad to give us all year for Christmas, and then once we got it, we were like, oh, gee, thanks. Put it to the side and played with something else. That's exactly what all of us did as fans. That's it, plain and simple. But either way, I'm hoping we get to see some more action down the road with Axiom being on Raw or SmackDown. Dragon Lee, I'm liking this push that they're doing with him. Santos Escobar came out to address what happened and why he did what he did. He came out with his old Legado del Fantasma music, addressed the crowd saying, you know, no, a lot of people ask him why. Well, Ray, but I know you're in the hospital bed recouping from knee surgery, and yes, Ray did get knee surgery. So before we break out all the age-old cliches about Ray with the busted knee again, let's just keep this into consideration for a moment. Ray came back a few months roughly after the first All In pay-per-view back in 18. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's about a good 5 years. Good 5 years he went non-stop working the WWE schedule without getting hurt like that. You know, and mad credit because working the WWE schedule and doing that kind of lucha style, man, that's a hell of a toll on the body. But best wishes. I hope Ray gets better soon. But back to Santos, he was explaining he did what he did because he was mad. It should have been him. That should have been his United States title. That should have been his time to shine. You know, it should have been him. It should have been him and his family. His LWO. He brought Joaquin and Cruz del Toro up. He got Zelina with them. It was them that were original. They were originally the group. They brought Ray on and Ray made them the LWO and this, that, and the other kind of stuff. And I'm paraphrasing a good bit of this, mind you. And then he went off shitting on Carlito as well. And they did announce there's going to be a match at Survivor Series, Carlito versus Santos. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that. So, then we had Grayson Waller going against Cameron Grimes. Yeah, this happened, and Waller got the win. I'm hoping we see more down the road with Waller, Theory, and Kevin Owens. Yeah. And then we had Solo, Jimmy, or Jim Uso, however he likes to refer to himself, and my savior himself, Paul Heyman. Paul addressing the crowd and, excuse me, Paul addressing the fans about Solo's shocking win, and I would say, and yes, I do say shocking because I did not have my money on Solo winning at Crown Jewel against Cena. But Solo got the win over Cena then, and is addressing the crowd over it. And basically, to sum it up plain and simple, Paul basically saying Cena is out and Solo is in. So yeah. Cool. And you know, if that was John's last match, I got no problem with it. You know, so, but you never really say never in the business, you know. And then we get L.A. Knight, yeah, dummy, yeah, let me talk to you, coming out, and then him having a match against Jimmy Uso, which we talked about last week, and then these two put on one hell of a match. I dug the hell out of it. Knight got the win, much to no surprise. Afterwards, it was a post-match beatdown. And then Knight was saved by Cody Rhodes, who just so happened to be there, coincidentally. So, yeah. So, that is it for SmackDown. So, with that said, let's get into this week's show. Raw in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It starts out with Drew McIntyre in the ring. Just standing there, wearing a leather jacket and a kilt. Ladies, have fun with that thought. Some of you lads as well. And then just standing there. I know a lot of you are asking, why, Drew, why? Why would I do such a thing? Why would I cost Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes the tag titles? All this, that, and the other kind of stuff. Well, I'll make it plain and simple. Jimmy, as much as you say you're sorry for what you've done with your family, at no point in time did you ever come up to me and apologize. I came over to this country. I spent the better part of my adult life over here. I busted my ass. I missed Christmases. My family understood. I missed birthdays. My family understood. I missed seeing my nephews grow up. They understood. And then when we had Clash at the Castle, my family was there for the first time. I was this close to getting that world championship off Roman. And what did you do? You and your family cost me my shot, my opportunity. So no. And for those of you that are wondering, no, I'm not in the Judgment Day. But Rhea Ripley did offer me a good deal. I get to work with them for War Games, and then I get Jey Uso in a cage. So, and I know a lot of people were making the argument, how you can't say he's a bad guy because he's got legitimate reasons. Hey, listen, all good villains see themselves as the hero in their stories. You don't believe me? Go back in history and look at literally any historical conqueror or colonizers, and it will show what they think they were doing was what they thought was the best thing out there, was the right choice. Hell, Lord knows I use comic books a lot for examples. You want to talk about good comic book examples? And it's been years now, It's been a good couple years now, but yes, I'm still going to use it. Let's go to Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Thanos. He was the bad guy. However, he saw himself as the hero and the person that was doing right in that movie because he was willing to do what no one else would for the greater good of the universe. Was it wrong? Yes, immensely. But I guarantee if he would have cut a promo and said any of that stuff to those same people that are saying, oh, Drew McIntyre can't be the villain, they would have thought the same thing. Which goes to show on that. So anyways, as Drew's doing that, then he goes and calls out Jey Uso saying, you can give your heart and soul to whatever god or deity you pray to because your ass is going to belong to me. Jey comes down, and then just as he's about to get in the ring against Drew, then Judgment Day shows up out of nowhere, and then Cody, Sami, and Seth come out, and then it's like, okay. And then, excuse me, Adam Pearce comes out and addresses the elephant in the room saying, listen, there is a distinct numbers disadvantage for you guys. So I need to know who's going to be your fifth man. And I need to know by the end of the night. So I'm not going to say who it is now, but I will say this. They did hint at teases during the course of the show with Cody, Sami, and Seth talking to each other. So, Seth, you got any options? I got a couple guys in mind. Sami? I got somebody. How about you? Yeah, I got an old friend I can call. You can? Yeah. Alright, well, let's go. And then they did that. So, now let's get into our first match of the night. Nia Jax versus Raquel Rodriguez, and this was a lot more entertaining than I thought it was going to be, and that's not meant to be a dig. I'm not one of those kind of guys that are going to go and bury and pile shit on wrestlers or a show if it's not called for. And I got to tell you, this was a lot better than what I thought because my first thought was you're going to put two big powerhouse wrestlers against each other. It's almost like in my mind, my first thought is always, oh god, it's going to be like slamming two LJN figures together and it's going to be like, ugh. But this was actually fairly decent. I liked it. Both were doing the power with each other back and forth. Nia, she was leading in their break and working on Raquel's back for the majority of the match, where you saw Raquel try to go and scoop up Nia a couple times, but back gave out. Back gave out. And then the match came to an end when Nia had Raquel set up in the corner. She was going to go for the bonsai. They call it the Annihilator now, I believe. But she had her up and then she had her set up for it. Raquel gets up and then goes and is fighting to try and get Nia to let go of the ropes. And then as she's holding her up, 1, 2, 3, back gives out, and then boom, Nia drops down. Raquel falls on her back, and Nia drops down on top of her. She goes, drags her back over to the corner, boom, does the bonsai again, 1, 2, 3, that is it. Next up, we got the man, Becky Lynch, going against Xia Li. And this had some really nice back and forth. Had a nice back and forth kind of pace. Xia, she was leading mostly into the break and was mostly leading the pace post-break. And I gotta tell you, I was real happy to see that because I know Becky's not, well, I can't say I know for certain, but based on everything that I've ever heard or read on Becky, she doesn't seem like that kind of person to be like, yeah, you know what? How about you let me handle that, brother? How about you let me get the win tonight, brother? I'll let you get one later. She don't seem like that kind. She seems like she's ready, she's willing to do business, and if that means she's got to take an L, she's willing to take an L. If she's willing to have somebody go and lead and make them look like $1 million, she'll lead and make them look like $1 million. Excuse me. But decent match. I dug the hell out of it. I also liked on how they were using it to lead into Xia having a match against Lyra Valkyria on Tuesday on NXT as well. And match came to an end when Xia, she went to go for one of those spinning high kicks that she's been doing lately that knocked out other wrestlers. Becky, she wound up dodging it, scooped Xia up, hit her with the manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3, that was it. Afterwards, there was a post-match beat, there was a post-match tease where Damage Control came down from the crowd and then started to go and do an attack on Becky. And then Bianca, Charlotte, Shotzi came out and then they did the save on her. Did the save for her. And then it was like Adam Pearce was getting everyone like, no, we are not doing this now. We are not doing this tonight. You know. Next up, we got Johnny Gargano going against Ludwig Kaiser, and this had some really good action. Now, we all know on how good of a technical wrestler Johnny is, and we know on how good of a technical wrestler Ludwig is. Well, you put them both together, and that was pretty much like peanut butter and chocolate. So, yeah. And Ludwig, he was leading into the break. Johnny leading post-break. Good match. Listen. I'm not saying it's like a 12-star Tokyo Dome classic. But no, this was a damn good match. And seriously, it was good. Especially, I need to address this because I was so excited I forgot to go over it. It was in my notes too. Before the match, Ludwig addressed Giovanni in the back, basically chewing him out, almost kind of like scolding him like a hound dog, talking about on how he was mad over Gunther crediting him instead of crediting Gio instead of himself, and then was said, last I checked, Gunther put you under my charge. So I'm telling you to stay back here tonight while I take care of Johnny Gargano. So, match comes to an end when Kaiser, he's in the lead and he's gonna close it up. And then, when you know it, boom, he's distracted because he sees Gio come down. And he's like, come on, you got this. Come on, let's wrap this up and go home. Kind of doing like that. And all the time, Kaiser's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I told you not to come down. Get out of here. Get out of here. He goes, turns around. Next thing you know, Johnny Gargano, boom, pops him with that Gargano spike DDT of his. 1, 2, 3, that's it. Stick a fork in him. That man is done. Later on, we see Gunther blasting both of them, saying, hey, now listen. You, referring to Ludwig, last I checked, I told you he is under your charge. Given the way you two have been dealing with each other lately and the results you're giving, I'm starting to think maybe he, referring to Gio, should be under your charge. You two, settle this, now. Basically kind of coming off like a very stern dad, telling two siblings, I don't care what the hell you two are fighting over. Kiss, shake hands, make up, now. Kind of like that. Next up, we got Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Match to determine #1 contender for the Women's Tag Titles. And they showed a little backstage segment that led to this. It was all a bunch of ladies swarming Pierce to the point he's like, enough! You all want to complain? You all want to say you want a shot at the title? Fine, you know what? We're going to have a Fatal 4-Way match tonight to determine the #1 contender. Does that make everyone happy? Huh? Good. Now go! Say what you want about Adam Pearce, but man, does he play a really good angry boss that's at his breaking point. So it was Natayla and Tegan Knox going against Candice, LeRae, and Indi Hartwell going against Ivy Nile and Maxxine Dupri, Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. Now, as much as I'd love to go into great detail over this match, given that it was a fatal 4-way, spoiler, 90% of it was car crash. Was car crash kind of action where everyone was like, everything was all piling on each other. And not in a bad way, though, mind you. But the big highlight, just from the television standpoint, was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven on commentary. Them two on commentary, going toe-to-toe with Michael Cole, trading jabs with each other. All I could think is, how in the world did they keep a straight face when did they do rehearsals on this? Because if they did, how did they keep straight faces the entire time they wore? Because I was laughing the entire time. Yep, but either way, it was a good match. It was good, solid action with all the teams getting a good chance to shine. It was decent. Now, Tegan wound up winning the pinfall. So your winners and the new #1 contenders are Natayla and Tegan Knox. We're not going to see that match at Survivor Series. Not much of a shocker because, well, you can only put so many matches on a pay-per-view or premium live event, however you want to refer to it, on one show. Chances are we're probably going to get that this Monday coming up. But either way, next matchup we had Shinsuke Nakamura going against Chad Gable, and good God Almighty! Ooh. Now y'all remember on how happy and giddy I was talking about the Dragon Lee Axiom match? Well, I was just as happy and giddy seeing the action going on between Nakamura and Chad Gable right here. And Gable, he was leading into the break. Nakamura leading post break. A lot of good action going on. At one point, Nakamura trying to fight, getting plunged into the Chaos Theory, holding on to the turnbuckle, and then boom, getting thrown. Throws the turnbuckle pad with it. Just like, okay, who's getting their head split on that thing? Surprisingly, no one did. It was actually used in a different kind of way, and I love different. Different's good. Match came to an end when Nakamura went to throw Gable into that corner, and then he stopped himself like, whoa, to keep himself from hitting the exposed turnbuckle. I was like, okay. And then, as he's doing that, trying to get his bearings, then Shinsuke rolls him up and gets the win. So now we come to main event of the night. Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. Winner gets the War Games advantage. Really good feeling out at the start. Jey leading into the first break with Drew leading into the leading post and into the second break. And a lot of good, and again, Michael Cole. Say what you want about Cole's commentary, but you can't deny, if the man wasn't as good at the job as he is, he wouldn't have been doing it for as long as he has been. And Cole pretty much hit the nail on the head like I did at the beginning of the show, addressing about the whole Drew McIntyre, why he's doing stuff with the Judgment Day type business. He wants Jey Uso. He feels Jey Uso and his family cost him his world title. He wants payback on him. So yeah. And really good match. I dug it. Match came to an end with Drew hitting surprisingly a future shock DDT for the win. For the 1, 2, 3. And then afterwards started to become Rhea comes out and like, you giving that look like, okay. So Drew then proceeds to start going to do a beatdown on Jey. Jey starts fighting back. Then all of Judgment Day comes down to beat the crap out of Jey. And then Team Cody comes down to beat the crap out of them with chairs. And then Cody addresses, you know what? I've had enough of this. Thank God. I am glad you guys got the advantage, alright? Because you know what? We found our fifth man. Oh yeah. You think we're just... What, you think we're not running with predators? You think we're not running with apex predators? Are you hearing voices? Are you hearing voices in your head? Oh, I think you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about is here. He's going to be our fifth man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Randy Orton has returned. Okay, Randy wasn't on Raw, but everything was pretty much set. Randy's going to be at Survivor Series. Oh, it's so good to hear that again. I've been loving Randy's work since he debuted, and, well, I can't say since he debuted, because when he first showed up before Evolution, it was just kind of eh. But since Evolution, man, he's had a rocket strapped to him, and he is that good. There's no denying it. He's one of those very few guys that are third generation and not just live up to the family name, but live up to it and exceed in it. And yeah, duck a duck, call a duck a duck and a spade. Father Time's the only person in history that's undefeated. And honestly, I see Randy having maybe another good 5, maybe if he's keeps himself healthy enough, 10 if he wants years left in ring. But I'm honestly appreciate the time you got with the talent that you absolutely love seeing in there any day. That's all I'm going to leave it at. So, with that said, that is it for this week's show, folks. So please, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back watch some of the episodes when you can. Look for me on the Twitter at Tim Vicious, also on that Threads John, as well as Blue Sky and all that, Tim Vicious as well. Excuse me. Thank you to my executive producer, LeRae, who did provide the music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check out on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and such. Also, thank you to contributor of the show, LFC and Andre, fighting championship. There are a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Don't forget to check. Also, folks, LFC is on Tubi, so it costs $0 to contribute to them. But if you want to throw out a few bucks, go to whatmaneuver.net for some vicious rants apparel. T-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, short sleeves, tanks, women's tees, unisex, onesies, taco tees. We got it. Also, folks, don't forget to check out these cool ass cats right on that Twitter. Kenny Killer DSB on the Swabby. Diabolic RA, Sergeant Curry fans, dubs in your face. And again, thank you to the Main Event Wrestling Network for giving your beloved host a platform to shine. And like I always say, you love me great, you hate me.
Something the crowd can chant. Going out, come back.